focusing on various developments agenda by the government. And to begin with, let us focus on the issue of the Social Health Act so that we can look at the emerging concerns that Kenyans have been raising going forward. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda has put on a very key priority to universal health coverage for all Kenyans regardless of their financial status. This initiative is built on 4 key pillars, namely sustainable health financing, effective supply of healthcare products and technologies, adequate healthcare workforce, and comprehensive integrated health information systems. Sustainable financing has been a challenge under the National Health Insurance Fund, which relies on contributions from employed individuals as a primary source of income. This focus has hindered broader health financing, which is essential for the provision of equitable healthcare services to all of us as fellow citizens. To address these challenges, the government established the Social Health Authority. The SHA aims to include all adults in contributing to a sustainable fund that covers a wide range of health services, unlike the National Health Insurance Fund, which mostly required additional community fundraising efforts. We all know how much we've been contributing to various problems that bedevil our people. Like now I have my friend John Mudukiza. He's a sickle cell patient, a warrior, a very great man, a thespian, but he just can't access medicine because of his debilitating condition. In fact, one of his, the whole part of him is really in dire straits. So there are many of those stories. There are so many Job Dukizas, that require fundraising and help across this country. So SHA will ensure that every citizen can access quality health care through enhanced government financing. And when we talk about government, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about our own individual contributions, because you and I are government. Government is a collective sum total of our actions. When I come to speak here, together with my deputies, we speak for all of us in government. It's a collective. It's just that if it was a human being, then this would be the mouth. But we are the government. So I think that is the ownership. These are public funds. And of course, this is possible through the newly introduced legal frameworks aimed to facilitate the transition to universal health care. That is the aim. The frameworks are aimed at facilitating this transition to UHC. We know very well that UHC has been tried under the Kibaki administration. It wasn't successful. It was tried under the Big Four agenda. Again, it didn't succeed. Let's get it right under the Kenya Kwanza administration, or the broad-based government, as we know it now. The frameworks include the Primary Healthcare Act, the Social Health Insurance Act, along with the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness Act. Together with these 3 frameworks, we'll create the funds for the primary health care, that's the first one, the Emergency and Chronic and Critical Illness Fund, and both of which will be publicly financed, and the Social Health Insurance Fund to be financed through individual contributions. So the first 2, the Primary Health Care Fund and the Critical Care, will be directly sourced from the exchequer, but the rest will be based on this contribution that we are making. The shift from NHIF to SHA aims to provide comprehensive, quality, and equitable health care for all Kenyans, including those in the informal employment sector, through the engagement of community health promoters, CHPs. SHA envisions a system in which preventive and promotive healthcare services work towards early diagnosis and treatment, further lessening the disease burden. Under NHIF, registered members contribute a minimum of Kenya shillings 500 per month, regardless of their financial situation. And upon registration with SHA, Kenyans will gain access to consultations, diagnostic laboratory services, drug administration and treatment for various diseases, including non-communicable diseases. These services will be available in levels 2, 3, and selected level 4 facilities. The Social Health Authority will also expand coverage for chronic and critical illnesses such as cancer, specialized surgical procedures like organ transplants, and end-of-life care. Another key feature of SHA is the enhanced Linda Mama package, which supports maternal and child health care. This package addresses high maternal and infant mortality raised by covering all antenatal delivery and postnatal care services, unlike NHIF, which provided antenatal and delivery care only. The package also includes anti-D serum injections for rhesus-negative mothers, as well as care for post-delivery complications and infections. Additionally, essential newborn care will also include immunization and management of neonatal complications, which will be available from level 2 to 6 hospitals across the country. This comprehensive approach ensures better health outcomes for mothers and their children, reinforcing the commitment to universal health coverage in Kenya. And people are asking, why can't the government migrate NHIF database to SHA? It's a different demographics, it's a different contribution, and also there are actually 3 funds. So you cannot just have the same whole thing. That's like putting new wine in old white skins. People are also asking, are we going to pay more for less? And the answer is no. It's actually very enhanced, because for the first time, as I have enumerated, we are even going to have a critical care fund, primary health care fund, then SHIF. There are 3 of them. So you can imagine, like for critical care, it's like calling what we have now called excression. It's beyond your contribution, because maybe the 300 may not be enough. But we need to be inclusive and not also punish those who are getting critical ailments like cancer and such other, for the first time you can hear even transplants of various organs. That has not happened before, at least not to a large scale as this one. And the system is new. There's a new environment, and there are new sheriffs in town, because as you know, a new room sweeps clean. And this whole issue of people trying to talk about 1.4 billion being lost and what have you, that is propaganda. And it will be explained very well today in the town hall, because it's just a partnership which includes Safaricom in this whole issue, so that we don't try to demonize every project that the government is doing by alleging that there's malpractice, even when nothing really has happened. Every program in government will have some form of PPP, public-private partnership. And when you look at companies, even the Hustler Fund is the same model, because Safaricom is a public entity. We own at least 35% directly as government, another 20% by many Kenyans, over and above the other shareholders. So I think that is the same thing in many of these partnerships, because sometimes the infrastructure is actually owned by people in the private sector, and no country in the world over can develop without them. Is there enough public participation? Yes. We continue to engage, and we continue to hear from the people in the spirit of continuous improvement, as the Japanese call it, Kaizen. There are better results for Linda Mama, I think. Let us not try to, because before NHIF was not even covering postnatal care properly, antenatal care. All of these are now being covered properly under the SHA program. And of course, the issue of strengthening our public hospitals vis-a-vis the private ones is non-negotiable. We need to have more of them functioning, rather than people resorting to private means, because they are very expensive and cost to many people. And of course, basically, so that we work together, going forward. So now, moving to other issues, it's also good to highlight, like in the last 2 weeks, we've had very good results from various foreign trips by the president, who has become the #1 international diplomat. We are very encouraged by the way he's also been lobbying for Right Honorable Raila Odinga to win the AU chairmanship, which if it comes from them, it's a boon for all of us. But at the same time, we've seen his role as a leading Pan-Africanist and also a reformer of the African Union, and working collaboratively with international partners and honoring international obligations like the SDGs, which, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya was a co-president. I was privileged personally to be part of that process in New York. So we need to be at the forefront in ensuring that we achieve all of the SDGs going forward. And that is why, for example, in this new era of globalization, issues to do with labor migration are critical, having earned us 514 billion. And analysis clearly shows that most of the families that whose members are in the diaspora are being supported to really meet their basic needs from this. You find over 50% of, actually 54% of the household income goes to food. So when they send these remittances, they are critical. And in this case, there has been very good negotiation in Germany, where the president was able to sign a labor mobility partnership agreement on 13th of September, just for emphasis that this agreement paves the way for greater cooperation in areas such as labor mobility, vocational training, and student exchange going forward. So this is a technology transfer, if you look at it from that point of view. And it also facilitates legal avenues for Kenyans to seek employment in Germany, promoting ethical recruitment practices and addressing issues related to regular immigration. The agreement focuses on mobility of students and apprentices, immigration of skilled workers, and promotion of ethical recruitment. That is tackling irregular migration, forced labor, and human trafficking. And of course, skills development in terms of knowledge exchange and addressing labor market needs in both countries. Also, if you look at the Kenya-China relationship, people are questioning why we joined another bank, and the answer is very simple. The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, is really a membership club of 109 countries. Kenya is now fully paid, and we have $100 billion to draw from, so that we can finance this huge ambition of roads, railways, ports and harbors, and airports, and all of those kind of things that we require to do, either directly, G2G, or even using the public-private partnerships that we are proposing. And this is very, very critical, because the AIIB will help us in the standard gauge railway expansion, and the Galana irrigation project, and the integrated transport system in Nairobi, and the equipping of TVET colleges, construction of Boston Dam and Northern Bypass dualling, and development of the Lapsset Corridor, which is the new Kenya, including the Lamu-Garissa-Isiolo Road, which has been always perennially swept by the waters. Those of you who know that area know very well that has been a very big problem. And also rural construction of rural roads up to 34 billion. Let me now turn to fisheries and blue economy infrastructure. Kenya, Coast and Lake Victoria are crucial to the livelihoods of Kenya's fishing communities. Through sustainable business ventures, the blue economy and fisheries subsector, which supports these communities both directly and indirectly, as a sector with untapped potential, it plays a significant role in the growth of the national economy, contributing approximately Kenya shillings 178.8 billion annually. In response, the government has made significant strides in developing coastal and Lake Victoria blue economy and fisheries infrastructure to further drive this growth. In the coastal region, the government has developed landing sites at Kibuyuni, Gazi, and Vanga in Kwale County, Ngomeni and Kitwa Chakati in Kilifi County. Usiulize kama ni Kitwa Chakando. These projects, valued at Kenya shillings 163.8 million, aim to support the livelihoods of local fishing communities. Additionally, more than 5 landing sites are under construction in Mwaura, beg your pardon, in Kwale, Kidongo, in Mombasa, Kilifi Central, in Kilifi, Kipini, Tana River, and Mokowe, in Lamu. In the Lake Victoria region, the government has completed and launched landing sites at Mulhoba in Busia, Sori in Migori, and Luanda Otieno in Siaya. There are also 9 additional landing sites being developed in Lake Victoria as a total of Kenya shillings 1.5 billion. You know the story of Kabonyo and the other places. And this is on an ongoing basis, and we'll continue with that. And such projects will improve livelihoods of people in the region by increasing business activity, translating to more money in the pockets of Kenyans. On aquaculture, in order to meet the huge market demands for the blue economy and fisheries products across the globe, the government has also established 100 smallholder aquaculture groups, commonly known as SHGs. Through these groups, 1,200 smallholder farmers have been supported with pond and rehabilitation and construction materials. These group ventures will serve as a boost for their earnings while catalyzing food and nutrition security. The program has created jobs at 90 aquaculture technical extension officers trained on technologies, innovations, and management practices have been hired. The government has provided 3.2 billion shillings in grants to fund 1,263 common interest groups, helping to keep the fishing communities economically resilient. These groups, which include youth, women, community-based and self-help organizations, have used the funds for fishing, boats, gear, coral reef restoration, and mariculture. Additionally, 875 young fishers across the country will receive training in deep-sea fishing through the funding. As part of the government efforts to empower participants in the sector, 150 BMUs, beach management units, very well structured, have been transformed into cooperatives, that is 84 in the Lake region and 61 in the coastal region. This transformation is expected to enhance organization, resource access, and growth opportunities for small and medium-sized enterprises across these communities. And I remember coming across Mwakamba, a BMU in the Diani area, very well organized people near the Congo River, the Congo estuary. Despite these developments, the subsector continues to face challenges from illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing, which is really happening at a large scale, especially in the international waters. And to combat this, the government has strengthened its monitoring, control, and surveillance efforts. And a total of 123 fishing boats have already been distributed to fishing communities, and 125 additional offshore deep-sea fishing boats will be procured at a cost of Kenya 600 million. And the Kenya International Boundaries Office, which is under the Executive Office of the President, is doing a very good job in reclaiming a lot of international seawater. This will be announced very shortly of what gains we've made by none other than His Excellency the President. 6 patrol boats are also in operation across the coast, Lake Naivasha, Lake Victoria, and Lake Victoria to address overfishing and protect the Kenyan waters, so that everybody can have an opportunity to really do that which is required. So as you can see from our weekly briefings, we will also be going machinari just as we've done before. We'll also be having panels going forward so that we can have a more engaged, robust way of delivery of what government is able to do, so that we can have a feedback mechanism that also empowers the Kenyan population. But we really want to ask the members of the floor of the state to join us, because when we develop the country, we develop it for everyone of us. I would also want to call upon Kenyans to support His Excellency President William Ruto, because when he succeeds, the country succeeds. But when we experience any form of failure, it is also collective. Because today, we are the ones who have the responsibility of being in charge of government. Tomorrow, it could be some other group of people. But when you look at development, it's really a relay. You have to pass on the baton to the next. So when you succeed in your legwork, in your part of the race, it also means that the other person will run better, faster, in a more ebullient and efficient manner. And that is how economies have been built the world over. So when you talk about taking advantage of the blue economy, when you talk about taking advantage of a healthy population. It's only when we'll be able to do so that we can reap from the demographic dividend of a median age of about 20 years, being the second youngest country in the world after Uganda. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Kenyans, I would want to really plead with you that we join hands and embrace this key program of SHA so that by 1st of October we are all registered. And as a result, our students will be able to get Eduafia, will be able to get proper medication. We will not have these issues of Harambes every other weekend. It should be a thing of the past. And then we are able to move forward. That way, we'll be able to have a prosperous country that can also meet its needs. And we've made very good progress. It's been done. Now we are not importing sugar. That's the fact. Because of these concerted efforts in the last 2 years. Now we have brought down the cost of living significantly. That's not something we can actually debate. The cost of fertilizer, the cost of fuel has also gone down. And we can do much more if we lessen the noise and rally each other together under His Excellency President William Ruto, so that we can deliver as one. Him as the head of state and head of government, supported with the cabinet secretaries and the PSS and all that are playing a critical role, I believe we can do it. Now we have the broad-based government. That means now we are more united in pushing the agenda, because it can pass easily in Parliament, any legislative proposal. But then, let us also not push ourselves off the development trajectory out of misinformation and disinformation, to the extent that the social media, for example, is even having a very great influence on how news is being reported in the mainstream, because everybody may want to be a bit sensational. Let us not go that direction, because if we are to go down, and we all learned from the recent protests, it affects all of us. So let's amplify. I want to implore upon you, let's amplify what the government is doing. Let us not just move from one contestation to another. Last week it was about the airport. This week is about SHA. Next week it will be another. We are actually making a very interesting caricature of ourselves as opposers of anything that is good. And yet some of the people who are working behind this disinformation have vested interests. They have pecuniary interests and other interests. Can we look at the public good that emanates from a collective kitty, that is exchequer, that then permeates to solve the problems that bedevil each one of us, that we in our individual capacities may not be able to resolve. And that way, we'll be able to move forward. Because we have a great country. We have a wonderful country. We have a country that has the potential and the capacity to actually become the greatest in Africa, if not the world. It is projected that in about 20 years' time, Kenya will be a better economy than those of us those countries that are ahead of us. But that will only be achieved if we rally ourselves behind His Excellency the President and the better plan for now as a MTP4, the medium term plan 4, because we divide our development agenda into 5-year chunks, so that we deliver the Kenya Vision 2030 and plan forward, just like other economies have done, like China, who came up with a 100-year plan that made them to move from a third world to almost becoming the best economy in the world. Kenya itasimama, Kenya itainuka, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe?